Welcome to Table Flippers Podcast, ministry of Greater Worship Christian Church here in Lancaster, California. I am your host, Apostle Robert Enos. Here we will talk about doctrine and theology, politics, social and cultural issues, and how the church is to respond and face these issues. Get ready for a large dose of truth and get ready to have your tables flipped. As a friend just told me recently, Table Flippers is flipping awesome. I hope you go and check out our merchandise page. We have hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. I just got in my own hat, and I've been wearing it, and I've been getting a lot of compliments on it. It's a fantastic hat. My daughter designed all of these, but we have hats, t-shirts, hoodies, and more. And if you go to tableflippers.com, that's tableflippers.com, and use FREEDOM as your promo code, you'll get a discount. Fantastic stuff, beautiful stuff, and it'll help me, it'll help you. And together, we'll be flipping awesome. My last two podcast episodes, I've been talking about the COVID-19 shots, these jabs, as they're called. Many call them vaccines. I don't like to call them a vaccine because it's not a traditional vaccine as we have come to understand vaccines, but it is an experimental mRNA experimental drug developed originally by Dr. Malone and now being misused by our government and many people in the medical community, the CDC, the WHO, World Health Organization, FDA, and all these other ones that are pushing this on people. And, well, all the people that have taken this drug and the boosters are the guinea pigs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you've took that drug, you are the guinea pig in all of this. You are the one that they're watching and monitoring to see how this affects. And if you've been paying attention, not just to my podcast, but at all, and I mean the real news. I'm not talking about the Communist News Network, also known as CNN or MSNBC, or all these other news sources like that. And they're not even news. It's propaganda. But just people that are just digging in and getting the facts and presenting facts. If you've been paying attention, you'll know that there's many side effects, and much of the time it's deadly, which leads me to this. I want to read a couple of articles. They're not very big, but just to give you an idea of what I'm talking about, why I'm talking about this. So this first article, it says, COVID shots causing monstrous clots. That's kind of the title of this article. It's from the Desert Review, and it was originally published in the Liberty Council, June 7th, 2022. So a year and a half, 6 months ago, 7 months ago. Anyways, it says this. Boise, Idaho. Dr. Ryan Cole, a Mayo-trained, board-certified pathologist and owner of the largest independent diagnostic laboratory in Idaho, is finding an alarming number of large blood clots that have appeared since the COVID shot rolled out and seem to be present only in those people who have received the injection. Dr. Cole was interviewed by Matt Staver on Liberty Council's TV program, Freedom Alive. The blood clots are not what one would normally think of a clot. Rather than a small clot the size of a BB or larger, these clots are long, worm-like, and some stretch for several inches or even up to several feet long. Cole Diagnostics process and reports out approximately 40,000 blood and biopsy patient samples annually. Dr. Cole's lab is able to determine the difference between a spike protein caused by the virus and a spike protein caused by the COVID shots, which are demonstratively different and much more pronounced and serious. Blood clots are normally revealed from elevated D-dimer tests. Most clots are typical micro and even medium-sized clots. However, the tissues around it eventually become compromised since oxygen cannot get in there and the tissues die off and the clots grow. If the clot continues to grow and get bigger, eventually the clots kill people. This appears to be happening in those people who have received the COVID shots. One embalmer with 11 years' experience revealed that 93% of her recent cases died due to clots from the COVID shot. Morticians usually use a dissolving fluid to break up clots, but now the fluid cannot make make it through these new monstrosities. The embalmers are finding that they are getting back pressure because the fluid cannot pass through the blood pathways due to the clots. They are forced to go into the body and manually pull them out. Now the embalmers are pulling out unusually large clots as long as 4 feet long and have identified these irregular clots primarily in COVID-vaccinated individuals. Dr. Cole says that the shots are neither safe nor effective. He said the COVID shots were made for the original wild version and none of the shots have been modified for the variants. Dr. Cole stated that the shots are all risk and no benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, as this short article says, and I will post these the website address in the description for this episode so that you can find it and read it yourself. I believe that there was, Dr. Cole was interviewed by Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel's TV program, Freedom Alive, and it was originally published June 7th, 2022. Now, I don't know if that was the date that they did the TV program, but I'm sure it was around there. So if you can, go and find even that video and maybe you can watch it as well. Anyways, back to this. This should be sobering. This should be sobering to each and every one of us, whether you've taken the vaccine or not, but especially those who have taken the vaccine. I've seen these pictures of these supposed blood clots. I've seen some pictures along with this article. Again, you can find that. Along with this article, some of the pictures of these blood clots. And, I'm not a doctor, but I could tell you right now that if they truly pulled these things out of the human body, any human body, I could tell you, just by looking at it, they don't belong there. They certainly do not belong there. It's very concerning to me because I've known a lot of people that have gotten this shot. And I've also known some people that have died or had some serious problems, such as stroke, because of blood clots. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not fantasy. This is not anything to laugh at. This is not something we should shake a stick at. This is something that each and every one of us, whether you've had the vaccine or not, should rise up and say, wait, we demand answers. Because it's funny that these doctors, and these are genuine doctors, trained doctors, are rising up saying this. And it's interesting that the FDA, CDC, our government, medical boards and such are shutting these guys down and trying to shut them up for telling the truth, for verbalizing their concerns about this. Well, why would they shut them up? Instead, what they should be doing is listening, taking their reports, and then going and researching this themselves and doing the studies to see if what they're saying is true. And unfortunately, that's not the case. So really, what gives here, ladies and gentlemen? What gives? Really, what gives? Now, I'm not what I would consider a conspiracy theorist. I like to know it. I like to see it. I like to understand things, not just blindly have a conspiracy or a theory about something. But this is not a conspiracy theory. This isn't just something that somebody made up. Now, maybe they originally did it, but the proof is out there now. These blood clots are killing people. These blood clots that come upon people after they have been vaccinated. Now, I'm not saying that blood clots in and of themselves are somewhat commonplace, but not on this level, and especially among just a single group of people, the vaccinated. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, this was supposed to save us all. The COVID-19 shots were near messianic in that they were supposed to come and save us all. And instead, what we're finding out is many people are getting sick and even dying as a result of them. Not the disease, but the shot that was supposed to save them from the disease. So even if they worked to help people keep them from getting COVID-19, even if they worked in that manner, you die of COVID-19 or you die of the shot. Now, here's the reality. There's many other drugs out there and treatments out there that can keep you from dying from COVID-19. There's no need for this shot that's going to kill you or has the potential of killing you in the worst kind of way. So, again, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but I'm also someone that's a realist. If you take 1,000 people and put them in a room, 500 of them have the vaccine, 500 don't. And then out of that group, let's say in the next, 3, 4, 5 years, a large number of one of those groups dies. strange deaths, then you could pretty much rest assured that at least part of it was what made those two groups different. And in this scenario, it's the vaccine. Now, I'm just kind of making this up to make a point, but my point is that when you see so many people that are vaccinated dropping dead because of heart attacks and strokes caused by these blood clots and blood issues, then maybe we should take another look at that. Here's another article. Now, what's interesting about this article, it was posted in austintexas.gov. So it's the Austin, Texas, city of Austin, Texas, their government page. And it was posted in there originally. And I went back to the Austin, Texas government page, and I went just straight to their, the what do they call it? The first page, austintexas.gov page. And they actually have a COVID-19 section. I clicked on that, and they're pushing. This is funny. They're pushing the COVID-19 shots still in Austin, Texas, and on their government page, and yet they went ahead and posted this article on the same Austin, Texas government page. Now tell me if this isn't double-minded. This is so strange. This is double-minded. And again, I'll put the links in the description box for this particular podcast. It says, shock. Doctors warn that majority of vaccinated patients could have permanent heart damage. Some may die within 3 years. That's what it says. And it's by Aidan Salazar, July 22nd, 2021. So what's that, about a year and a half ago? It says Dr. Charles Hoff found 62% of patients who received COVID mRNA jab test positive for blood clots. The concern is those people will probably all develop right-sided heart failure within 3 years and die because they now have increased vascular resistance through their lungs. A Canadian doctor demands further study into the link between COVID-19 vaccines and blood clots after his research found clots in a majority of vaccinated patients, some of whom he says could be dead within 3 years. During a Zoom meeting with other medical professionals, Dr. Charles Hoff explained he's been running a study on recently vaccinated patients, having them take D-dimer blood tests to determine whether they have blood clots. Whoops, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Oh, here it is. Oh, and if you go to this site, there is a video, and the note here in this article says, watch the 9.21 video embedded within the link. So if you want to go to this link, find the video, you can watch the whole thing. The article goes on to say, so far I've got 62% positive elevated D-dimer, which means that the blood clots are not rare. Hoff informed fellow physicians. That's what the so-called experts keep telling us. The clots are rare. The big ones are rare, but the small ones are clearly happening in the majority of people, 62%. Dr. Hoff says the clots, which could number in the thousands and are hard to detect due to their microscopic size, are caused by messenger RNA molecules in the vaccine which cause spike proteins to form, which in turn attach to the cell walls of the cell, impeding blood flow and damaging blood vessels. So normally the cells that surround your blood vessels have to be very, very smooth to enable good and unimpeded flow of blood. But as soon as you got all these little spike proteins that become part of the cell wall, it's now a rough surface. It's going to be like a very coarse sandpaper. It's now what the platelets are going to interpret as a damaged vessel. It's no longer smooth, it's rough. So clotting is inevitable because the platelets that come down that vessel are going to hit a rough spot and assume this must be a damaged vessel. This vessel needs to be blocked to stop the bleeding. That's how our clotting works. So, because of this and because of the nature of this, clots are inevitable because of these spike proteins in the capillary networks. The damaged vessels don't regenerate like other tissues and organs and instead remain permanently damaged. And because the clots are so tiny and scattered, they bypass typical medical detection methods. Hoff, who was put under a gag order, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, Hoff, who was put under a gag order by the Canadian government after warning about the concerning trends, says this process could be why nearly all vaccinated people experience similar negative side effects. In fact, all of the frequent side effects of the shot, which are headache, nausea, dizziness, fatigue, could all be signs of cerebral thrombosis on a capillary level. I mean, literally, you could be having thousands and thousands of tiny, tiny little clots in your brain that won't show in a scan, but they will give you those exact symptoms, Hoff stated. The doctor also detailed how 6 of his vaccinated patients have all suffered reduced effort tolerance, meaning they get tired quicker while doing normal everyday activities. So I believe that these people blocked up thousands and thousands of capillaries in their lungs in these 6 people. So I believe these people now have permanently damaged lungs because, that's why they get out of breath, Dr. Hoff related. Hoff says the damaged vessels and damaged lung tissue are a big problem that would lead to pulmonary artery hypertension or high blood pressure in the lungs and death within 3 years due to increased vascular resistance. The concern is because these vessels are now permanently damaged in a person's lung, when the heart tries to pump blood through all those damaged vessels, there's increased resistance trying to pump the blood through those lungs. So those people are going to develop something called pulmonary artery hypertension, high blood pressure in their lungs. And the concern with that is that those people will probably all develop right-sided heart failure within 3 years and die because they now have increased vascular resistance through their lungs. During the virtual meeting, other doctors in the Zoom call appeared shocked and somber at Dr. Hoff's tragic news. If Hoff's research turns out to be right, the COVID vaccine could be the mass culling depopulation event the globalists have been waiting for. Now, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, the last sentence of this article is for you conspiracy theorists out there. Woo! And be careful about mislabeling the conspiracy theorists in your life. Do you know that it turns out that they've been near 100% correct in this? I'm just saying. But here's that last sentence again. If Hoff's research turns out to be right, the COVID vaccine could be the mass culling depopulation event the globalists have been waiting for. Now, this is so interesting because I know a lot of people are there, oh, that's a conspiracy. They don't want to kill people. Come on, we have it on video. We have it in articles. Yes, they do. Yes, there are many in high-ranking positions in our country and around the globe that do want to cut the, I believe the population, they said that would be healthy, and that's in their mind, and what they want is about 100 million. So what are we at? Almost 8 billion or close to 8 billion, something like that, to 100 million. Do you know how many people that would be dying? Now, I'm not saying that they're going to get what their wish is with this one vaccine or this so-called vaccine, but come on. If it works the way they want to, our numbers could be really small really soon. But I don't want to deal with that. What I want to deal with is these vaccines again and the danger of them. Ladies and gentlemen, we are learning more and more and more, and there's still people that want to reject the truth. Somebody might even say, well, Rob, why even say anything now if there's nothing anybody could do about it? All these people were duped. They believed it was safe. They took it. Now what can we do? Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. But I believe in a God that can heal. He's greater and more powerful than this shot and these wicked people pushing it. So cry out to God. Maybe he'll set you free. But as I said in my other podcast, please search out a very good, not just anybody, a good, all-natural, holistic doctor that, I don't know, maybe he or she knows the trick to cleansing the blood and cleansing the body of what's in that RNA jab and the spike proteins and all that. Maybe they have the trick. Maybe they know something. Maybe they know something that I don't know or you don't know. I have no idea, to be honest with you. But go, find out, get checked up. If you've got that jab, if you've got that, and say, listen, I didn't know. I was told it was completely safe. Help me, doc, and see if they can't do, I don't know, maybe some kind of body cleanse, blood cleanse, liver cleanse, something. Maybe some kind of herb, maybe some kind of regimen, some kind of treatment. I don't know. but it's worth a shot. Worth a shot. That was almost funny if it wasn't such a sobering thing we're talking about. But it's worth taking that, paying a few extra bucks, sitting down with a doctor that knows better, and talking to them and say, hey, please, what can I do? How can I get this out of my system? But there's a doctor, his name is Dr. Schultz, and as he was described to me, he is the guru of herbs and things of that nature, herbology, herbologist, whatever they call them. Anyways, of herbs and natural things, natural medicines, natural things, herbs and such. And I like what he says one time, what I read of him saying. He says, when you get sick, the number one thing you do to get better, to get healthy, is to stop doing the things that made you sick in the first place. Okay, now listen to this. So when you get sick, the very first thing you do, if you don't do this, nothing else is going to make sense. Stop doing the things that made you sick in the first place. So let's assume for just a moment that you eat lots of sugar and lots of carbs, the bad carbs, and you come down with diabetes or pre-diabetes. Your doctor may want to prescribe a pill to you. And that's the problem with a lot of the modern medicine. They just want to prescribe a pill. Say, take this and you'll be okay. You're not going to be okay. It's not taking care of the problem. Now, if you're going to listen to Dr. Schultz, and you should in that regard, stop doing what you were doing that made you sick in the first place. Number one, get rid of all the sugars in your life. All the sugars in all their form. Number two, stop eating so many carbs. As a matter of fact, stop eating all that junk carbs. If you want, every one of us needs carbs on some level, but we don't need nearly what we eat in our American diet. Get them from greens, okay? That's the very, very, very first thing that you do. Then, after you get that settled, go after the other things holistically. That's going to help you overcome diabetes. Now, let's get back to this. We know that these COVID shots are causing all kinds of problems. I just read to you how they're causing all kinds of blood clots that are leading to other problems such as stroke, heart attack, things of that nature. And we're seeing many, many people, especially young people, literally dropping dead of heart attacks. I just read an article the other day of how an 18-year-old, very, in shape, basketball player, has a heart attack. 18 years old, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't hear of these things. Or let me put it this way. Maybe occasionally, every now and then, it happened way back when. But now it's almost common. People are putting montages together of how many people are literally just dropping dead, either on the, on the field, playing sports, or even newscasters. When I say funny, I'm not laughing at this, not ha-ha like it's a joke. Funny in a very sad way, in a sobering way. We had the news media working with our government, with the CDC, the FDA, World Health Organization, Dr. Fauci, all these wicked people. And the media was complicit in it, and they were pushing this. They exaggerated the numbers of deaths, COVID-19 deaths, big time, and they were pushing this shot, and many of them took it as well. Now you can find montages of how many of these news reporters and anchors are literally dropping dead in the studio while on the air. They got video of it, dropping dead because of heart attacks and things of that nature. And they're just keeling over right there. They could be right in the middle of a news story, and all their eyes roll back and they fall off their chair, or they just fall over, and people are wondering what's going on. Well, I'm telling you what's going on. These guys did two things. One, they pushed this vaccine. Two, they took it themselves. And I hate to say it like this, ladies and gentlemen, I really do. I get no enjoyment out of this. But we're watching them pay the ultimate price for their own foolishness. Yes, we're watching them pay the ultimate price for their foolishness. You see, and I have friends that have taken this shot, people that I care for taking this shot. Some have told me straight to my face, oh, I studied it. This is completely safe. Now, some of those same people that told me year and a half ago that this is so safe that I was foolish for not getting it are now saying, wait a minute, this is not so safe. This is harming. This is hurting a lot of people. Yeah. And the same things floating around in their blood that caused them those blood clots, those strokes, and those heart attacks are floating around in your veins. Please, I am begging you, go find a good holistic doctor that's really worth his or her salt and ask them and seek their advice and seek their treatments of how you can get that junk out of your system. Get it out of your system, please. And stop with the boosters, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do. This is just my own personal advice. But please seek some counsel on this from people that would know, and not your doctor that gave it to you in the first place. Please seek some advice from a holistic doctor. Ask them what you can do. Ask them what you can do even beyond that. Well, how can I protect myself from COVID-19 if not through this shot? Trust me, they have better treatments, better things that you could do than taking something that doesn't belong in your body to begin with. Please. Do yourself a favor. Do your family the favor. Do me the favor. Do me the favor. I don't want to see anybody else die. I don't want to have to go to another funeral. I don't want to have to say goodbye to another friend. This is heartbreaking. This is heart-wrenching. And again, as this doctor says, upwards of 62% of the people that he has been studying have these blood clots. So that tells me that if these things continue to grow the way he believes it will, 62% of our population, I mean, if that number is consistent throughout the population of those who have been vaccinated across the board, so upwards, in the ballpark, in the neighborhood of 62% of all the people that have taken this vaccine, according to him, will be dead in 3 years. And I'm assuming 3 years after they take their shot. And in my opinion, and again, I'm not a doctor, this is just my opinion, the more boosters that you take, it seems like the worse it gets. So if you take the first shot and 62 out of 100 people that have taken that first shot are going to die in 3 years, according to him, and this is his article, not me. You take that second, third, fourth, whatever booster you're up to now, what if that just keeps cutting it off some time? What if, I'm just saying what if, every time you get a booster, 6 months comes off? It could be worse. It could even be worse. Because I know a lot of people that have taken it, they have no problem going back for the second, third, fourth, whatever. There's some people that are so fearful that they have had like their third booster, their fourth booster, they're still wearing the 2 masks, the plastic face shield, the rubber gloves, and they always constantly smell like alcohol, not because they're alcoholics, but because they still slather themselves with the hand sanitizer head to toe. And if you get within 5 feet of them, they're freaking out, get away from me. Get away from me. I mean, that tells you just how much faith they really have in these booster shots and all that. Anyways, this is all so ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen. So absolutely ridiculous. My mind is just scrambled right now just thinking about all this foolishness and the chaos it's created in people. Good people. And they still, some of them just simply don't get it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm asking you, take a deep breath. Do a little research. Go and read these. And if you're not convinced with the articles I post on there, then find some other one. There's plenty of them out there. But don't get anything from CNN, MSNBC, whatever. Knuckleheads, geez. Get it from people, the doctors that are in the trenches, actually fighting this, that aren't vested, meaning they're not getting a paycheck from Pfizer, okay? Find out from them really what's going on and see for yourself.
Thank you for joining us at Table Flippers Podcast. I'd really love to hear from you. Please look us up on the web at www.gwcclancaster.org. That's gwcclancaster.org. Or you can email me at gwccrobert@gmail.com. I'd really love to hear from you. Please let us know how we're doing. Keep all those comments coming. Until next time, you all have a great and a blessed day.